over there fogging out talking to Crystal about New Orleans. So we were having chats about East New Orleans, Dalmatians, all those good things. I pastored in Baton Rouge for a bunch of years, and so we spent a lot of times in New Orleans. I was there 2 weeks ago. I spent some time in Baton Rouge, went down to New Orleans, had some fun. Dr. Jerry Lilly and some guys from there, and Steve Robinson, who pastored on the North Shore. And so we love talking about New Orleans. It's king cake season, glory to God. And so we don't celebrate Mardi Gras, but we will eat some king cake. And so, we're sneaking it. So anyway, it's great to be here. I feel so short sitting on this. I just feel like a little baby Josh right here. A tiny Josh. Anyway. I could be able to work with this. And so, big guy. So anyway, that's awesome. But what a great church! My goodness, just the detail of putting up the pipe and drape is a great detail in the setting. You could have just thrown the chairs up, and tables, with all these details. I don't know who's in charge of the details here, but you're doing a great job. I mean, come on. We're having a little Mexican and we're chasing it with a cupcake. I mean, that's going to make for a great picture. And so anyway, I told you I'd make myself at home. And so anyway, man, what a great day. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for that. I'm good. Thank you. It was awesome. It's fantastic. Yeah. I see you showing off. I need to get on stage. I'll be going around to the stairs. And, so we're all good. But what a great day. I want to honor you, man. What a fantastic fan. Over 1,500 people in church. That's crazy. You know, there are so many people. Some of you are on team. Some of you, of course, are on team. But it's not the vocation right now. And but you're on the dream team. We're all on the same team. We just are in different vocations. You know, there are a lot of people that are on teams and they never get to see a church go to 1,500. Yeah. There's about 663,000 churches in America. And so there's about 2,000 that ever cross over and sustain 1,000. Wow. Wow. It gets real. The air is thin for a church to ever get to 2,000 people and sustain it. So where you're headed is rare. Where you're headed is there's just not a lot of those churches. So we're going to see how this goes. Stools are challenging for a double X. I'm just telling you straight up. You're it's not an issue. Wow. And so I'm just not real sure what type of relationship I'm getting ready to have with this stool. So we'll see where this goes. Wow. I'm going to take this home. Put that on the plane. We'll see. I'm not going to end up on it. I'm too hyper. But I mean, in just 4 years, this rarely happens. I'm telling you right now, it rarely happens. Yeah. And so I get to travel and be in cool churches, and Nick does the same thing. Me and Nick known each other forever. And so to God be the glory. Can I have a good amen? Amen. So it says a couple things. A great team. You're in a great city. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are in cities that are tough. So you're in a great city, and you have some great churches here, which are awesome. You want to be in a city of great. I think it's good to be in a city. Birmingham has some great churches. We have a church down there, some other great churches, which is awesome. And there's just a great feel right now at this church. I mean, it just feels great. And you've got real deal leaders. Pastor Josh and Crystal, they're wise. Yes. They come from a wise family. They want to reach people. They've been good stewards financially. Yeah, it's true. So as you tithe and are faithful, this is a big part of the tithe base here. You are early givers. You're consistent priority givers. You're in this room because of that. Right. And so they're doing solid in that area, and that gives you a bright future. It just gives you a really bright future. Because you've been faithful with your finances, been faithful with stewarding these moments, and this facility is phenomenal. Again, there's a lot of people that are on teams that never get to pastor a church this size. You never get to walk in a building like this. There are people that and a lot of them are a whole lot more spiritual than we are. I'm telling you, we're not talking about we're not more spiritual because the church is growing. Yeah. We never get ourselves in that attitude. That would be wrong. But there are a lot of people who their parking lots are never full, and they are very faithful people. And so it is an awesome thing to have a full parking lot, to have people that, where you're moving people around. Do you know there are, so 99% of the churches never have had overflow. Never. I don't know what that would be. So to have the blessing of overflow, which is a blessing to you, but to a first-time guest is not. And so we're very conscious of that. So good churches are aware of that. Man, we get stoked over that. Man, people in the overflow. Well, you're not stoked if you're the one in the overflow. But you can be if you handle them correctly and if you steward them correctly. Especially a first-time guest. I can imagine being a first-time going somewhere at a restaurant. It's my first time there. They say, we're going to need you to sit in the parking lot. And so, and we need you to give money. Okay? Just give us your money. And that's a staggering thing to ask for. But we know that there's just all these kind of things that you're very aware of and that you're really tuning into. Again, I'm telling you, I go to churches bigger than this, a whole lot more staff. And you're doing fantastic at appearance, vibe, feel. You have I want you to get this is an important word. You have aesthetics awareness, which is very important.
Good.
Aesthetics awareness, because hospitals have aesthetics awareness. Good banks now. If you've seen how some of the banks now are changing their aesthetics. You walk in, and it's no longer just some teller desk and like a place you just fill out your deposit slip, and then there's people in offices that are just staring at you like you're going to jail. You're going to be arrested today. Now you go into these cool new banks. It's glass, and there's somewhere where you can sit down at like a couch, and it's all aesthetics awareness. And you go in a hospital, there are colors in the children's area. It's not gothic or like emo, where it's just like it's so black and it's just so dark. It's a children's area. The nurses come in, they got black eyeliner, and it's just like Megadeth, like Black Sabbath is playing. It's like, you go in, there's like a giraffe on the wall, and like they made like a caricature where it's like, and it's like the nurses walk in and they're like, they got like little spongy things, this little pink thing, like, hey, this is Rocco. And it's like, hey, say hello, Rocco. And the children are like, oh, and they walk, it's aesthetics. So you're doing it. And so I just want to commend you. Very, very, it jumps out at you. And of course, everything overflows into the room. Great worship, great feel. And what you're doing for the kids is going to be phenomenal. And I'm going to tell you this. People do not worry about construction if they feel loved. So carpet, and we got a little paint issue. Nobody's worried about that. No one wants to leave their church. People don't want to leave their church. Sometimes think everybody's waiting to leave. No one's waiting to leave. You have to run people off. Most of the time, if somebody comes to church, they don't want to leave. We give them reasons to leave. In the way they're not treated well, or it becomes transactional. It's terrible. It's just all transactional. Give me your child. Here's your number. No, take your child back to Evergreen Nose. No. Robotic. My name is Robotic Cream Keemer. And it's, people don't enjoy that anymore. It's relational. Highly relational, highly highly sensitive. And so you're doing a great job of that. And of course, there's always things you can improve. I walked around, saw a few things maybe that we could bump up a little bit in some areas. We had a great chat about that. So great. So I love my role that I get to do. I get to be around pastors. I pastored for 20 years. So I get to be around planters. I'm really a church planter like Josh and Chris. Cut me, we believe church planter. I also plant a church. I get to be around a lot of church planters. I love the seat at the table that I have now at ARC. So I get to lead an organization. But then I also love the seat at the table that I can have a Church of the Highlands. So I'm on staff over full-time for ARC, full-time for Church of the Highlands. And so I get to be in the interim of the church. So we're trying to figure out where we can get better. We're trying to figure out where we're not handling overflow. We had a campus recently that overflow was bad. And I went over there and it was a horrible experience at River Chase. terrible experience at Highlands, and so we're changing up things. So every church is learning. No church is perfect. All church has areas that are just stink and not doing real well at, just like Highlands. And so get to be in that engine room. So I enjoy that because we're trying to figure out service times, and we're talking about Easter and sorting through all those things. And then I get to be in the serve world, which I love that. That's really my heartbeat. If you cut me, I kind of bleed. Outreach. I just love outreach and figuring out how we engage our community and how we reach out to the poor, to the hurting, and people that are suffering, and people that are struggling this morning. People woke up this morning, had the worst day of their life, and we're trying to figure out ways that I know they matter. Yeah. So I love all that and deal with all the changing dynamics of our communities. So I'm learning a lot, and I get to go around and kind of run diagnostics in certain churches and different things and experiences, all sizes and shapes and stages that are happening. There's one scripture that I love. It's in Philippians 4:9. Philippians 4:9. This is a cool little verse. I like it in a lot of versions, but these are great words. And it says Philippians 4:9. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice. I think the King James says, do this, do it. And the God of peace will be with you. We all want peace. So Paul is saying to the Philippian church, the church of Philippi, he's saying, whatever you've learned from me, you learned something. Be a learner. Be a learner, whether in business or you're a homemaker, you're an entrepreneur, you have a heart to help children, you want to make a dent in the darkness for lost humanity or homelessness, or you're in sports or something like that. Great leaders are what? Great learners. Mm-hmm. Well, so we're learning. Then he says, whatever you've received. We have to have people that are willing to receive. How many of us it's no fun dealing with somebody who's unapproachable? They don't want to receive anything. You ever deal with somebody they don't want to receive anything? That's no fun. You don't like dealing with people that are not teachable. So we're teachable, and here we're willing to receive things. Your pastors first, anything we can change, anything we want. Very humble, learning. And then the other thing says, and what you heard from me, how many of us we need to be good listeners? Yes. Good leaders are good listeners. Listen. Lean in. Listen with what I call squinted ears. Like you would squint to see something. You want to be in these moments where you squinted ears. And a good leader does what? He hears what others do not hear. Right. Sometimes you have to hear what's not being spoken. Yep. A lot of things are taught. A lot of things are caught. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of that whole. And then he says, and then what you heard from me or seen in me. So some things are modeled. Hey, just watch me do it. Just watch how I handle this situation. Watch how I'm going to navigate this problem. Just let me model for you how we're going to do this and how we're going to set this up, or how this experience is going to handle. And then Paul says, when he lists all this, he says, here's the cool thing. Go do that. Just go do it. Don't debate about it. You don't have to keep discussing it. You don't have to keep trying to let it go back around one more time. Just go put it into practice. And when you put things in practice, then you'll discover a peace. Yeah. There'll be a peace that accompanies it. And that's what we're wanting. And so I wrote down some things because I get to learn a lot from churches right now. I was at 80 different churches last year in 2018, just learning. This has already been a very interesting February. I've probably already been, goodness, in just the month of February, 6 or 7 churches doing different things. I hosted a marriage conference at a church yesterday morning this week. I think I spoke in 3 different cities. I was in 5 cities last week. Wow. And so I want to tell you that to say I have a context of church and of things that are growing in different stages and different sizes. And so I want to teach you some things kind of from a road trip recently, road trips of leaders in churches and things like this. And I think this applies to business or our home or all of us in different stages or even different expressions. I think there's things to learn for all of us. But I do want to focus on what's happening here at Heights. So I want to bring it into that context. And so here's and some of them are leaders that I'm learning things from. And some of them are churches. Here's the first thing I learned from my pastor, Chris Hodges, is that you have to fight for culture. Yeah. Because culture always drifts. Yeah. It always drifts. I don't know if any of you have ever fooled with a Rubik's Cube. You know, you can fool the Rubik's Cube and get it just perfect, and get the greens and the reds and the white and the yellow. We used to have a Rubik's Cube in our studio at our church. I pastored for 20 years, and the guys in there would always see who's the fastest at getting right. So we would undo it, and then they would go back there and do a competition who could do it the quickest. But here's the interesting thing about culture. And in the way that we do things, the way that we have a feel, an expression, a set of beliefs, a unity around some values, our culture. There's a culture of this church. But here's what I've learned. Once you get it set and it's just right, if you leave it on the table overnight, when you come back the next day, the cultural ghost has messed with it. It's just the way it is. If you take culture, we get everything just right, and the children's are the way we want it. We're set. We had a great weekend. We're just going to set it here till next weekend. If you set it and leave it alone, when you come back next weekend, it will not look the same.
That's good.
Because it's just how people are. It's how church is. It's how life is. It's the same way in a family. I've got to keep adjusting our culture, because if I leave it up to the kids, it's going to drift 50 miles down the beach. I mean, we ain't never going to get it back to where we're supposed to be. It'll drift in a marriage. You can't let your culture, your marriage culture, be on autopilot. It'll drift. It can't happen in a blended family. It can't happen as a single. It's just the way life works. Culture drifts, and culture is so important. I'm going to give you 8 principles of culture. So it's another list. You may want to jot these down, and then we'll do some of these other things. Here are kind of 8 principles that guide culture for a church or for a team we're doing for the gospel. The first one is holiness. That's an important word. We got to live holy. There's some things you say yes to, and then there's some things you say no to. We're Jesus followers. We don't do everything. We don't lean into everything. There's some things that we say, you know what? That's not best for me in my walk with God. There's a holiness. There's an expectation. There's just some things that we have to say, man, that ain't good for me. I don't need to be doing that, because that's not going to help me be a worship leader. It's not good for me if I'm a minister to kids. I don't need that to be my testimony. I don't need to be seen in that light anymore. That used to be my culture. It used to be the way I decided things. It used to be the way I taught. But I probably need to quit cussing people out. That'd probably be a good thing. It don't help anything. So there's just certain things but there's a holiness. And I'm not saying that I'm not talking about a set of rules. I'm talking about just a surrender to Christ. Lord, here's my life, and I want to be more like Jesus. I need to treat people differently, and I need to control these certain things in my life. Holiness is one of those things. The other thing is honesty. Well, that's important. Just honesty. We tell the truth, and we just here's what's going on. And, how's it going? Good. How many were in the kids' room? I don't know. There was 18. It's probably 70. Just be honest. Just honest. And hear what it is. It's inflated numbers or anything like that. That don't matter. It's not important. So honesty is an important culture where we can tell people the truth. We be truthful in love. In a kindness, but we got to be honest. Hey, you know what, man? I really need you to, try to be on time. I was here in the parking lot. No, you weren't. No, you were not. You were in the parking lot. You were at home. Well, I wanted to be in the parking lot. I was in the parking lot at my house. That's not what I said, sweetheart. And so honesty is super important. Here's number 3, hustle. Oh, this is a culture of hustle. Lord, y'all did confetti cannons and turned it around and had church 15 minutes later.
Come on.
Y'all preached to me about hustle. I learned some of your hustle. But always remember this. The best resource on a team is to be resourceful.
Yes. Good.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, and finding somebody who's resourceful, I can work with that all day long. So when you're resourceful, it's super massive. Number 4 is humility. These are just 8 H's of culture, kind of guide us. Humility, where we defer, we reflect, we reflect to other people, we redirect to other people. we can't let the me monsters take over. Too many me monsters that reside on the inside of all of us. And we're not careful. Those me monsters just want to control and want to dominate and want to, do all those kind of things. You just want to be careful there on humility. Here's the fifth one: is hunger. We work hard, but we work hard at being learners. We want to be, we want to be interested, and we want to be interested to learn and to keep figuring things out. To be right there. I see many of you taking notes and we were just trying to learn, just trying to be humble, have a hunger, get after. Hey, I want to learn something from somebody else. I'm going to do something extra. I want to read another book. I want to figure something out about life. Here's the sixth one: is the culture of home. This is home for people. There's a lot of people who they're giving God one more chance. And they walk in here. And they need to walk in here, and the feeling is, we've been waiting on you all week long.
Yes.
And this building is so void till you walked in. When you walked in, it made home right. We never carry ourselves like y'all been waiting on us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, a worship leader. I've been around where you don't have them here. But I've been around worship leaders who kind of felt like, hey, everybody's waiting to hear me sing. Wrote a new song. Gonna reveal it this Sunday. That's great. It's really not about you. I mean, no one's waiting on you. We're waiting on them. We've been waiting on you to get here. That's kind of the spirit that we have, because that says home. And then the seventh thing is hospitality. We talked about that, how important that is. You're doing a great. One of the words that we get the word hospitality from, and some of you know this because you're smart people, is hospital. Yeah. A hospital. A hospital is hospitable. One of the key things of a hospital is there's a hospitality. Yeah. I'm not going to go to the emergency room and how many's ever been to? You ever been anywhere where you felt like nobody wanted you there? How many's ever been in an uninviting environment? Yeah. That's no good. I don't go back to uninviting environments. But I love going back to places that are inviting, that are warm, that are considerate, that are leaning in, that go the second mile. And so we're hospitable, we work with people, we navigate things. Things are going to happen, things are going to break, things are going to tear up. Hey, paint's cheap, so kids are going to draw on walls, and things are going to happen. Toilets are going to get stopped up. All that's going to happen in church life. But we're hospitable. We have a spirit of hospitality on us, because there are people that are walking in here and they're having anxiety. They've never been in a place like this. They've never seen music, noise, church. If I go somewhere and I don't feel welcome, my anxiety level gets higher. Mm-hmm. So if I go somewhere and I'm not sure what to do, even me, and I'm a people person, I walk in, talk to people. But if I go somewhere and I don't know where to go, I'm directionally challenged, or if I don't know what to do, that my anxiety and my heart rate will begin to rise, which will make me feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
And normally and then if I'm not careful, if I'm not up and I don't know what's going on, I don't know where to go, and I don't know what's happening, remember this: what people are not up on, they're down on. So if they're not up on what's going on, and they don't know where to park, and they don't know where to sit, and a lot of people have never walked into a church that was dark. Open up the door and it's dark. Okay, are we doing a seance? We have goats in here? Is there like an ox head that's going to fly up the ceiling? And it's like a sword? What are we doing? Is there a Ouija board that we're going to pull out here in a second? And it's cool. That's all of our environments, Highlands, everybody's environments, goes on, verdicts, on and on. But just remember that there are people that walk into our environments and they're having anxiety issues.
Yep.
So you say, hey, good morning, God's good. Say, man, it's awesome to see you. Wow. Yeah. Is there anything I can do for you? Then all of a sudden you're lowering their anxiety, and now they're feeling a little calmer.
Yeah.
And they're up on things. Well, here's what's going to happen. Okay, awesome, that's great. And then they're okay with it. So I think that's super huge is hospitality, and then honor. Oh, that's such a honor is so attractional. Just a spirit of, we live in such a dishonoring world.
Yes.
You know, everybody's dishonoring on social media, dishonoring in the world we live. It's just crazy. And it's not attractional to anybody. So you just want to honor people. You know, honor is, I think the spirit of honor is, I see the good and I see the bad, but I'm going to choose to honor.
Yeah.
I'm just going to choose to honor. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to just flow in that direction. I think it's a good. You have a culture of honor here. Honor is the word weight. Robert Barringer, who is a good friend of this church, he wrote a book. I think it was Honor Bound.
Mm-hmm.
Honor Found. Okay, and the whole thing you talked about is how honor, it means weight. It's weighty.
Yeah.
It's the person who is in a heavy moment, but they're taking it lightly. You know, if I'm going to meet somebody that I admire, I got to see Billy Graham one time. I didn't go in there and say, "What's up, Bill? B to the G." Well, that's an honor. I didn't go over and kind of give him a nose garage or, you know, or give him a wet willy in his ear. I would have done that. God, I was, hey, Pastor, I was such a, wow, I felt the weight of it.
Yeah.
It was almost like I wanted to get on the ground. I was being pressed by the weight of this man and Jesus. I was feeling the honor. Again, it can get weird. I've seen it before, get overboard, etc. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about people who understand the weight of this moment. That we're 4 years old.
That's really good.
And we have 1,500 people in church.
Yeah, that's really good.
Wow. Lord, help us to honor that as a team, to give, we're a part of it. So those are just the 8 H's of honor. Here's the second thing of culture. Here's the thing I learned this from John Siebling. I've got 9 of these, so we'll stay on track so you'll know where I'm headed here. I know sometimes we like to know what number we're getting to, because if I had 60, you would want to know that. It's an important list. And so, and I know you've been busy all day long, so we're going to get you out of here. It's John Siebling, and what I've learned from him in Life Church in Memphis is diversity is worth the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Diversity is work. It takes work to be diverse. You got to be intentional to express diversity. Not disingenuous, because there's some diversity expression that is that's disgenuine.
Yes.
I'm talking about it's worth the work. Let's do whatever it takes as it relates to race and the experience. So I've got 2 friends, Jimmy Rollins, who pastors a great church not too far from here, Tim Timberlake, who pastors a great church down in Rock. I spend a lot of time with them. We deep dive in ARC about what are questions, what are situations, what are things that are happening within ARC that we're not considering. 3 years ago, we invited them into our world and said, look at all of our applications for church planning, look at all of our launch processes. Because we started in Louisiana, and our first couple of years of the church of ARC, the organization that we lead, it was very southern, a very southern expression. So we began to now plant more churches in the Pacific Northwest, or on the West Coast, or up in New England. So we've had to be more diverse in contextualizing church into those areas. And then we just real strong in urban settings. You know, what does that look like for somebody who comes out of a traditional African American church and now wants to plant maybe more of an expressive, progressive expression of church? What are those questions? And so we spend a lot of time, and I do a lot of listening, and they help us with that. And it's the same with like age. You know, the embracing age within a church, and how you do a great job. Kids, think about this. There was a study recently about what is the prime age of where most people are coming to Christ. Barna did it, American Bible Society did this, and they said that most people in America, about 85 to 90%, come to Christ under the age of 30.
Yeah.
So that's most of the people in the United States that decide, okay, out of that group, 80% of those receive Christ between the age of 11 and 18. So to me, if that's our largest targeted audience, then that's why we have to market so much towards that direction. So
it makes sense.
So that's if I'm selling something, I'm a salesman, and somebody tells me that I got a great product, it's killing it, and then we do research and we do some studies and we crush some data, and they come back and tell me that the number one person who wants what you're selling is 11 to 18, If I know that's my market, then I'm going to make sure that my presentation matches my market.
Yes, that's so good.
Because that's where I make the most money.
So good.
So it's the same way in church. So if that's where the largest amount of people are coming to Christ, then clear cut gospel presentation and that age bracket is massive.
Yes.
And so we've got to create our children, students around an expression where they can come to Christ.
Yeah.
They can say yes to Jesus in certain dynamics. So it's things like that. It's the same way with gender. Thank God women here are celebrated. Women are involved. And I was watching online and you had Winslet. Did I say her right?
Katie White.
Which White? God, I wanted to say Winslet. That's an actor, I think, Kate Winslet or something like that. So maybe I'm throwing that together. And so she preached. It was fantastic. And Lana, I want to say Monica. Lana crushed it. And she preached. She's like a devotional. I said, no, girl, I watched it. You got into some preaching. You started as a devo, but it went to some fire. Come on, somebody. And so, thank God for all that. Of course, Crystal's role here as one of our pastors, so super important. My wife was like that. She led worship. She'd preach. It was so sick that she would lead worship. And was a worship leader back in the day where there were not a lot of female worship leaders. I came out of a camp that you could be a girl song leader, but you were not allowed to be the worship pastor. So we started our church. I was 27. She was 23 years old. And I was like, you're the worship pastor. I have dear friends right now that hated on me because I called her our worship pastor. But I was like, that's all right. She goes home with me. She's my worship pastor. and lead worship in jeans in Louisiana when that was not cool to do. And she just did it. But she'd lead worship and then preach. And then go back into worship. And I couldn't do that. I remember one Sunday she had led worship, and then she preached, went back into worship. And I had an old Cajun meet me the next Sunday and said, well, if she can preach and sing, what do we need you around here for? I responded, I said, and you can't afford her. So they began on that. But thank God for that. So many women in leadership here. Wow, diversity is worth the work. Same way in special needs.
Yes.
How important is that?
Yes.
That we're understanding of special needs and challenges and being patient, kind, loving to those. I mean, how important is it? I think Jesus would get us good if we did not take care of the broken and the poor.
Yes.
Oh my Lord. He'd spank us. He'd take us out to the woodshed if we were not being kind to people that had challenges like that. It is an utmost priority that we take. We used to have a lady who would come to our church and she's paralyzed. She's a cheerleader at LSU. Got paralyzed, come to our church, and she was in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the chin down. Sometimes during church, her alarm would go off and they'd have to suction her. And I'll never forget, I had some people come to me and say, we can't take that anymore. It's just so distracting, and you're going to have to talk to Casey's family. We're going to have to figure out another way for them to experience church. I said, I will not be talking to Casey's family. You're going to have to figure out another way to experience church, because we're not changing. We're going to embrace poor, broken situations that all of us could be in a moment.
Yeah.
So we're that kind of church that puts a high priority on it. Diversity is worth the work. Let me give you a few more. Greg Surratt teaches me this. Seacoast Church, who's the founder of ARC. Don't take yourself so serious.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, just remember, things are going to break. Things are going to happen. Don't get too fired up. Sleep on it.
Yeah.
We're good. Don't get all red-faced, fertile brow. No. Chill, some guy. I saw it one time. We were in church and we had a little phone that you could pick up on the front row, and I could call the sound booth, earphone. I called the sound booth. Then it graduated to like a comm system. Probably you had television. You do comm and you push a little button and you could talk. So one day I was so mad the video wasn't working, and video wasn't working. I got on that comm and said, "What is wrong? Fix this or go home." So I was talking to my guy who worked for me. Fix it or go home. I'm up here killing myself to preach. You can't push a button. Push a button. I'm on aircom. I get done. I go to the green room. We probably run 3,000 or 4,000. I go to the green room. Ain't nobody in there. Nobody shows up. So in between one of the services, finally somebody walks in and says, "Hey, Pastor, I just want you to know, you know when you got on the comm, that was all comm.
Oh.
70 people heard you say that. Volunteers out in the parking lot went home. Dream teamers out of door just thought that you told them to go home. Like ladies in the back fixing like jambalaya for our homeless meals. Dropped everything and went home. I was like, well, praise the Lord. Let's never have a comm at my then I was mad. Who put that there? Who gave me that ability? I had to apologize, repent, just wear sackcloth and ashes. I put ashes on my forehead like Ash Wednesday the next week. It was horrible. And you know what I should have done? Calm down.
Yeah.
Don't take myself so seriously. Wow, because this is about people.
Mm-hmm.
It's about people. We had a guy who used to serve. He worked at the donut table, and he was the guy who went and got the donuts and knew how many donuts were supposed to be on the table. And so we were doing a homeless outreach, and he only picked them up and got them there, and then turned in the receipts. He was kind of an intense dude, kind of fertile, proud, and intense. And so one day we were doing homeless outreach, and there's a couple thousand people at our church. It was during the hurricanes. And so God came and said, "You gotta come outside. We're having a meltdown. We're having a meltdown." I was like, "What?" "We're just donuts. Meltdown." I go outside, and this Mr. Ron was just, "One donut! One donut! Oh, put it back!" And then I hear him, "Shut it all down! Shut the donut tables down!" Homeless people. Ron, look at me. Look in my eyes. Put the donut box down. Walk towards me, Ron. Walk towards me. I went inside. He's like, "You're taking too many donuts. Let me know." Go home. I was supposed to send him home. So I said, "Listen, I need you to be in donut inventory in the back. You don't need to be, I don't care if they take all the donuts. They can have 10 donuts. They can double dip all day long. We're not going to lose the church because somebody took 2 donuts. It's all right." What's that? There's somebody who's taking, they got to learn to chill. So just learn to be calm. It's all right. Things gonna happen. Somebody took too many cupcakes home today. Okay, and nobody need to follow them to the car. You got a cupcake in your bag, sweetheart? You're gonna need to open up your bag. I need to count them. No. Take it. We're gonna lose the whole church over that. So don't take it so seriously. Number 4, Billy Hornsby taught me how to believe in the small. Small matters. Champion the small groups, small effort, small moments. Big moments are just small moments. Mm-hmm. It's just all combined together. And so we're never the person that says, "I'll be so good when I get to a big moment." Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you won't. If you're sloppy in the small, you'll be sloppy in the big. It ain't about the big. No. I'll be better in the big. No, you won't. No, you will not. Jesus said, "Those that are faithful in the very little, then I'll let them have more." So it's small. Can I tell you something? If you don't learn in the small, you can't lead the big.
So good. And
too many people waiting to lead the big. The other day I was speaking at Highlands, and man, we had a great Sunday, 50,000 people. Well, who couldn't preach there? There's screens, there's a band. But that earlier that week, I went and did Vestavia at Liberty Park's junior high Bible study. 15 kids. What was harder? Highlands with LED screens and adults, or middle school, a basement where there's Capri Suns at a pool table. Do you know what junior high kids can do with a Capri Sun? They can make it vile. I'm telling you right now. They're dirty little boys. And I'm in there trying to preach, and they got Capri Suns. I'm trying to preach. What was harder? Really, the small was harder.
Yeah.
You can fake the big. You can't fake 15-year-old boys.
Yeah.
So where was I more anointed?
So true.
Same. What was more meaningful? Same. It's not like God never goes in and counts a meeting. Yeah. God weighs a meeting. And so small matters. Small. This is a great church because you're great in the small. The integrity of this church is not how you handle 1,500 people. The integrity of this church is how you handle one.
Yes,
that's how the integrity of the church always ends up. Bobby Houston taught me this. Of course, Hillsong Church. is love the people. When all else fails, when all else comes apart, when you're not in the loop, when you don't know what to do, when you don't know your role, when you feel that you're at the end of your rope, when somebody didn't communicate, when there was no email sent out, when things changed and I wasn't told. No one told me we were changing. And nobody communicated to me. I was not on the communication trail. Don't know, what do I do now? Love the people. Just love the people. When everything else failed, love the people. When you don't know what to do, nobody told me my assignment. I don't know what to do. Just love people. And we'll get to you. On all this, just love people, love people, love people.
So
I love that Bobby Houston says that. Here's what I learned from John Maxwell. That when you begin to be a church that costs 1,000, 1,500, and when you get to 2,000, here's what matters every day. Leadership development, resource development. So every day, once you get to about 1,500, 2,000, I remember we broke 2,000. John Maxwell, we made a little lunch, and he said, Dino, look at me. He said, if you want to build the kind of church you're talking about, reaching people, healing place for the hurting world, he said, here's what you want to do every day, Pastor. Raise leaders and raise money. That will be what you do forever. And I didn't really receive it. And then I began to realize how important it was, our leadership pipeline.
Yeah.
And how important it was that we were good stewards of our resources, and that we were not afraid to be a high commitment church as it relates to generosity.
Yes.
You know, we just don't apologize for calling people to high financial commitment. We're just not going to apologize. I have never got a phone call from Apple saying they're sorry that their products are so expensive. No one's ever stopped me and said, we're just so sorry. And we're just, I want to apologize. I want to apologize that those earbuds were $125. We're so sorry. You know what they do? They take my credit card and they hand me earbuds and they look at you like, you ought to be glad you got them. And if you lose them, you will bring me another $125. And you'll be glad, and you may not get another pair. You know, guess what? Hey, let's not apologize that we want to partner with 50 communities, 50 partners at RVA Day. Let's not apologize for that. Right? Because every day we're going to be raising leaders and we're going to be distributing resources to the poor and to the broken and to the hurting. And so that's important. Let me give you 3 more. Here's what I learned from Carl Lentz. My son works for him, and I've known Carl for about 20 years. Spent a lot of time at the Hillsong Church there. Is give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't be so hard on people. Work with people. Help them. We live in a broken world. How would we expect, if someone's broken, then why do we not expect them acting like they're broken? They're going to be broken. So people have alcohol challenges. So they're going to drink alcohol. They're going to have challenges. People have addiction issues. Well, the reason is they have addiction issues. And so let's be a church that doesn't make people feel like, let's be a church that says it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to help you. And we're going to have patience and grace to help you. And we're going to work with you through things. And we're going to be there. We don't want you to stay the same. We want to help you take a next step. But we're not going to run you off because you have some problems in your life.
Yeah.
We're going to have grace and mercy. I love that about Carl. Carl, he just has a stomach for the struggle.
Yeah.
And who's do you have some outreach people here? Who's the outreach crazies? You know who they are. Because they are odd. Are you an outreach guy? I'm an outreach guy. So I hardly never fit in. Because I'm always thinking about broken humanity. And I stare at homeless people. And when people's houses burn down, I wonder why. And I see people at red lights getting a $1 bill. And they don't make me cynical, they make me soft. You're like that? You're going to work with that, okay? I'm just saying, outreach people have a grace for people. It's like, I never forget Mother Teresa. She was giving a tour of Calcutta, and she had some of the businessmen down in the gutters, and they were holding their nose. It was smelling. They kept holding their nose. Oh my God. And Mother Teresa was just hugging and embracing and loving people. They were holding. Some of them said, Mother Teresa, can we have a mask? Do you mind if we wear a mask? She said, why? She said, that is the smell that Jesus loves. Because it's the smell of broken humanity. He died on a garbage heap. And so he said, she said, that is that smell of lost, broken, and Carl Lentz loves that smell.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why I think Carl Lentz, sometimes you may know him, you may not know him. We see him on television, and we wonder why he's not James Dobson. He's not the voice for Christianity. So don't expect him to be the voice for Christianity. He is the voice for lost humanity.
Yeah. That's so
Sometimes God requires somebody to be the voice for lost people. There are other people there's a Tony Perkins, and there's other people that will hold the line and describe our doctrine and our morals. Calling word. Don't expect that from a guy like him. He's trying to figure out, how do I reach people that will never even look to God? So I think that's something you can learn. Let's be a church that just gives people the benefit of the doubt. And some of them are clueless to anything. But we're going to be a church that's patient with them. We love them. And Matt's going to grow in that area, so it's going to be awesome. What number am I on?
8.
Number 8. I learned this from Moses Matea, Casey Treat's son. I was down, and that's don't be afraid to try stuff. Don't be afraid to suggest stuff. We may not be able to do them. 10 ideas, one may work, but the one will be awesome. So always give ideas. Hey, I figured I was looking the other day. I thought we do. Well, that's a great idea. I don't know if we do that, but I love that. So they do pop-up church down in downtown Seattle. It's the coolest thing. They go into a retail store. So their fourth service of the day is in a retail store downtown Seattle. They just push the stuff to the side. They put 2 speakers up, and they have church.
Wow.
As close as they can to the urban population, who works very hard, and it's the coolest environment. It's 1 hour, and it's a lady who works at Google. She played basketball at Maryland. She jumps up and just says, "Hey," after the worship, like 3 songs, and just a little small. She gets to, "Hey, great to see you." She talks in the context of urban life, and then she says, "Hey, I preached there. Dino, jump up here, give us a talk." I jumped up, did a 25-minute talk, and then she wraps it up. And it's just, I just love how they're trying it.
Yes, that's so cool.
It's just pop-up church. It don't cost. It's like $800 a Sunday night. That's all they're paying for the whole. It costs them $800 to do the whole church service. Because everybody's a volunteer, and the retail store charges them $600 from. They do it on Sunday nights. Sometimes they move it to Monday nights. And they're just in there. And a lot of times they pop in at like 5:30, 6 o'clock when the retail store closes. And they start at 8 o'clock and you're out at 9. It's just something to try. So I'm going to tell you right now, your pastor is going to have to try some things. And we can't be afraid to try. Why? Failure's an option.
Yes, good. So good.
Failure's an option. We may get and say, we're going to try this for 3 months. And after 3 months, we're going to say, you missed God. You missed God. You didn't follow the Almighty. You missed the cloud by day and the fire by night, Pastor. Don't know if I can follow you. He tried something.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's try something else.
Amen.
Because we're talking about reaching broken, lost humanity.
Yes.
So we're going to try some things. So I think that's a great value of a church to take a chance on some things. And then the last thing, and I learned this from my wife, and I'll finish up, is develop greatness in other people. My wife is good at that. She loves seeing greatness in other people. So here's my question on that topic. Is your commitment to your own greatness greater than your commitment to developing greatness in other people? You can say it the other way. Is your commitment to developing greatness for your team, for others, as strong as your commitment to developing your own greatness? Are you making other people great? Great churches are full of leadership team and staffs that are making other people great. I shared this one day at a staff. I do a whole teaching on how to develop greatness in other people. And I had a lady come to after. She was like, hey, I love it. But here's the problem. Who's going to make me great? Because what you told me is spend my whole life making other people great. She was just genuine, honest. I think she probably felt a little forgotten, felt a little overlooked, and my heart went out to that. And I've been in some moments like that. I've been in some seasons where you feel like that everything you're doing is so small, it's so insignificant that no one sees it. It's not making a difference, and nobody notices what you're doing. And I said, I understand that. I lean into that. I get that. I said, but could it be that if you spend your life making other people great, could it be that God could make you great?
Yes.
Could it be that God Almighty could tend to your greatness
Yeah.
if you were tending to the greatness of other people?
So good.
And I think some of the ways you do that is people got to know you believe in them. Yeah. They got to know you believe in them. And it's more than words, but sometimes it is words. People have to know that you're for them, that you're not going to give up on them. Hey, I'm here. I'm gonna ride with you. We in this thing. I ain't going nowhere. I mean, you get arrested, you call me. I got you. I mean, it's that kind of commitment to people. I'm with you. Yeah. Now we'll figure. I'm gonna stay in this thing with you. I'm committed to you. We don't know what outcomes look like. We don't know what the pain's going to look like. We don't know what the consequences and fallouts are going to look like in our life. But I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think there are seasons that we need. People need to know that there's somebody like that for them.
Yes.
That just, hey, I'm going to see you through this. I want to make you great in your life. And we just make that decision to be committed to the greatness of others, and we say it to people. I just think it's so important. I think sometimes you just got to find some new adjectives for a Sunday. It's just like, it's like the same Sunday. Hey, it's good to see you. Oh, it's good to see you. Oh my gosh, it's good to see you. Okay, the 15th Sunday, it's good to see you. No. Hey, mix it up. Put something else in the mix. Like, hey, whoa, what's up? Oh my gosh, your hair. Fabulous! Brilliant! That was a brilliant message. Phenomenal. Fantastic. Woo! Wonderful. Awesome. Just do something different. Just awesome. Just exciting. Wow. Just send somebody like some random emojis. Just boom! I'll blow you up a clown head right now. I'm a clown on you right now. Yo, you're like a knife. You're just cutting it today. I'll blow people up with emojis, just blowing them up. Wow. I just don't want to see the same thing. Okay. Thank you. Maybe the fifth thank you. And send me some fire. Send me like a pirate. Come on, send me something. Send me the medal. I like that trophy emoji. Ooh. You ain't seen anybody that trophy emoji lately? Blow somebody up today, that trophy emoji. Say, man, you first place. People need that. Why? Because they're getting so many other messages. Take a second, turn around, tell somebody an adjective you've not used in the last week. Go. You're such a loving team. Just says, fantastic. You're extraordinary. You blowing it up. You killing the game. You're like a shark. Hey, send somebody the shark emoji right now. Just boom. You're a Shark Tank. Only send them 3 because they're bigger. Awesome. Boom, clown head. Don't send them chocolate ice cream, which would be known as the poop emoji. I mean, just let people know, man, this is an environment that is encouraging. This environment, we're making people great at Heights Church.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called Heights Church. Trying to bring people up. They got enough people bringing them down. They're going to leave here feeling up in their life. There was a song that came out, I finished with this. It's the coolest song ever. I love summer songs. Like one-hit wonder songs. I think they're so fun. Like I remember that summer song that came out, Who Let the Dogs Out? I mean, it's like, I don't know what they're doing now. But it was a cool song when it came out. Blew it up. I like that song. Remember the Macarena? Hey, Macarena! One song. Like, that's all they had. And then they came out with a song a couple summers ago. I loved it. It's kind of a mellow song, but it was cool. Had a little good little vibe to it. You could kind of get your jam on with it. You just kind of Oh, I found myself a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Y'all are just so. Who knows that song? How's that count go? Da, 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 da. It's a great song. Wow, because everybody needs a cheerleader. Hopefully they come to Heights Church and they leave here and say, I found a cheerleader.
Yeah.
His name is Josh. Come on, give me a J. Give me an O. Give me an S. Give me an H. What does that spell? Say it again. Who's our leader? Who's our cheerleader? Didn't that feel great? Don't you feel better? I had to pick Josh because I don't know how to spell crystal. That's how it works in church. That's a church people want to come to. Can I have a good amen?
Amen.
Hey, so let's be that team. Let's have a blast. Let's laugh a lot. Let's make sure that we spread joy around like confetti. Can I have a good amen?
Amen.
Thanks a lot. JOS. Amen.